Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Had to reset the stream. That last room smelled like alcohol and cigars. Smelled like tears and bad life choices. Smelled like stale cigarettes and malt liquor.
The good old days.
High school flashbacks.
Bro, you're giving me some flashbacks.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back, welcome back. I didn't make it through the day, man. I took a hardcore day nap. I'm not even gonna hold you. It was 3 blinks and then 6 hours had passed.
Yo, man, they're on Powell's ass. Looks like he was lying to Congress about how much money they were spending at their new headquarters.
They're gonna try to throw everything they can at this man and still not be able to say, come
Yeah,
on,
I was
watch.
just gonna say that. They're throwing everything at him. They want him out of there. Like, we can't wait till 2026, man. We got to get. They said, yo, he spent over not him, but lying to Congress over $2.5 billion. They're calling it Palace of Versailles, basically their headquarter revamp. And it's pretty spicy. New York Post just did an expose on him and the whole thing. It's pretty interesting.
It's probably not the end of it. You're gonna find out he didn't eat all his mashed potatoes at lunch. You'll find out everything.
Isn't the New York Post a tabloid?
Oh, New York Post is not a tabloid. How dare you?
I'm pretty sure the New York Post is a tabloid.
There's a tabloid section, kind of, but no, it's not a tabloid. It's a
the Post. The Post is just a Post.
Post is not from New York.
If you read the New York Post, you would think it's a tabloid.
Oh, dude, all news websites are tabloids now. I mean, if you think about it, look at CNN, look at even Google News Timeline, they're tabloids.
All I'm saying is, I don't think the New York Post is a very good, reputable place to get your
information. All I'm saying is, if you put New York Post next to New York Times, New York Post is much more reputable.
Maybe, could be. I'm not gonna argue that.
Bro, nobody reads the paper anymore, anyways.
I'm confused. The government's worried about what a private institution, how they spend their money.
The Fed's not a private institution. We got to remember they're still appointed by Congress.
But it's still a private company, though, right? It's not an actual like federal agency.
In a way, it is. In a way, it is. In a way, I was looking into it just to see how close they could get to actually firing him.
I mean,
but they were brought in by they were established by Congress, given their independence by Congress by law, but they were established by Congress, and there is a way that you can get Powell out through congressional vote, but they do not have the votes for it, and it would be like really unheard of to even attempt it. It's like meant for when somebody's like a last case in case somebody went absolutely crazy while they were, you know.
Trump's like, unheard of? Hold my beer.
But yeah, I think the point is just to cast doubts. Like anything else, bro. He gives you a nickname, you're screwed. Once he starts calling you Donkey Boy Powell, you know the FUD's coming. We're literally just back in the range, guys. Like if the weekend trap never broke. Peter says everybody's smoking. What happened to a good old beer bottle or two or three? My problem is 2, 3, or 4 beer bottles and I wake up in jail. 2, 3, or 4 joints and I wake up on my couch.
True that.
Big difference.
Yeah, you don't like black out on weed.
I'm allergic to alcohol. I break out in handcuffs.
A fact. When I go out with my friends, I'm usually the sober one. Usually the one that drives and usually the one that watches over everything. And it's not because I'm like the more responsible one. It's mostly because I'm the one in the group that you don't want to get drunk. Like as long as I'm not drunk, the group can be on. If I'm drunk, I don't listen to anything anybody else says. Like I'm completely recluse.
Yeah, I learned to know when I'm getting that feeling because I used to wild out.
I know when everybody else starts to look little. I'm like, I gotta chill.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's the New York in you right there.
Everybody just starts to look like little, like I could carry them around and shit. You end up talking to some big 7-foot bodybuilder guy like he's a kid.
That just happened to me the other day. I almost got in a fight. Luckily, my girl was like, "Yo, it's just stop, guys." Yeah. Had those beer muscles on. You know, you could get drunk in winning too, and have those kind of win muscles on, and have overconfidence, and that's when a lot of players get wrecked.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, so like they just added it. I just thought maybe it had just added for me and everybody else had it for a while, but apparently everybody just got it.
Got what?
On TradingView, if you left click, it gives you like a little data box that that pops out now. So like you can go to a specific candle and click, and it tells you the high, the low, the volume for the candle. It just randomly popped up. I was clicking around like, what the hell did that come from? But it's brand new.
It's new monthly looking good. We hanging.
Yeah, everything looks good, man. Everything except for the 5-minute chart. 5-minute charts just paused. Everything lower time frame shit just feels like we're paused right now. Nah, I can still have a couple drinks and shit, but it's got to be close to when it's time to come home. Like you got about an hour or two left out, you know.
Yeah, me too. I do like a few like at the beginning of the night and a few at the end of the night. Like I can't do it all night. That's just it's bad.
If I leave the house at 9 and I'm drinking by 9:30, it's gonna get bad.
Hey, to start drinking at 3:30 and would be drinking before I even left to go to the bar.
Remember those
By the
days
time I got
too,
to the
man.
bar, I would be drunk already.
The pre-drinking because
I would drink all night.
you didn't want to pay the drink cover at the bar, which was crazy. So you
then
thought
I
it was a good
still ended
idea
up
to
doing
split a
it.
bottle of tequila with your homeboy in the parking lot before you get in.
Yeah,
No, you're
I mean,
completely
exactly. That's the
shit-faced.
idea.
Yeah. Ugh.
But then I would still pay for drinks when I got inside because I was too drunk to have good judgment to not pay.
Yeah, but you're paying for
expensive
less, right?
drinks.
It doesn't matter. The difference between buying 1 or 2 instead of buying 7 to get to the point that you were at.
Yeah.
It's just funny when you look back. A lot of it was just the stupidity, bro.
For every dollar I spent on booze, just booze alone, I'd probably already be a millionaire.
Push-ups.
Bro,
I didn't say shoulda, coulda, or woulda.
Nobody wants to live in Connecticut anyways, bro.
Oh,
You said
actually,
would've.
I did say would've. Yeah, true.
Yep.
All right, put it on my tab.
All right, I'm noting it down right here.
Yeah.
They need to change their state motto to have fun staying poor. Connecticut officially bans Connecticut officially bans the state from creating a Bitcoin reserve or investing in any digital assets. That's not going to age well.
Why are they being such a buzzkill?
Seriously, though.
It's the Northeast, man. Northeast has become the biggest buzzkill, man.
Connecticut.
I'm
More
like
like
thinking to get out of here.
more like Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Ghetto.
I like that, Connecticut. But yo, New York, man, the governor, I don't know which direction he's going to take New York, but I don't know if it's going to be that good because New York is what New York is because of all the billionaires. I mean, not just because of the billionaires, but I'm saying like you need those billionaires. Like you need that money in New York because that's like the foundation of it. Like it needs that industrial
Let's be
money.
real though. New York comes at a premium anyways. Like I don't think anybody will leave. People are making money hand over fist. If they got to pay more, they'll pay more. But I don't think anybody leaves New York. Shit, they can't. Real estate's too damn expensive. They're already set up. They can't move their shit. But yeah, it could. They've tried it before, bro. They've tried it in New York before. We're gonna tax the rich, and everybody's gonna get better. And then what happens is less people get hired, less jobs open. You know what I mean? Everything gets more expensive. Maybe he'll take 50's $250,000 and go do something.
And he said that he'll give him a one-way ticket too. Yeah, so Elon Musk, man, I think he's gonna start sparking up some thing with his new party. Like it's gonna be like I think he's gonna set it off. I think he's really like plotting right now. Like if he's got a bone to pick, I think he's gonna pick it.
I'm only holding a bit of Doge now, so I mean, honestly, he could do whatever he wants. But when I was like heavy in Elon-based investments, I just wanted him to put the fries in the bag, bro. Like take all the, like stop all this extra shit, bro, and put the fries in the bag, bro. Just do your job.
He shook me out of my position already. Like when he was beefing with Trump, he shook me out of my position, and he's about to shake me. I don't know.
Nah, it's reckless, bro. It's like you never know what's gonna come
No,
next. At least
for
with
real.
business, we
ready
sort
for
of
it.
knew he was like singularly focused, you know?
So he said, it is obvious with the insane spending of this bill, which increases the debt ceiling by a record $5 trillion, that we live in a one-party country, the Porky Pig Party. Time for a new. He said, he called Trump Party the Porky Pig Party. He said, time for a new political party that actually cares about the people. Remember, he did a vote and he asked if people would, be down, like
Yeah.
the 80% people that aren't represented, would they be down for the American Party or something like that? So I think he's plotting right now, and I bet you within 5 months we're gonna see him actually come out with a party that's gonna have full funding.
Yo, who's Elon feeling like though? Like he knows that he's not American, right?
Well, that's why he's doing it. 'Cause he
He's
can't
like,
run.
I'm gonna
Because once he runs,
revolutionize this.
well, think of dude, he can't run for president. So that's the only way. Like, if he
Yeah.
runs a party, then that's like how he can assert his dominance or whatever he wants to assert.
Rajesh, no, we started to move off of the week with a day up, right? With our false move up. So our 3-day retracement is a move down. We're already almost 24 hours into the first day.
Elon Musk sits back and straight up, he's like, Grok, how can I take over the world? Grok is like, 1 second, Elon. All you have to do is form a political party and just get in a fight with Trump and convince
That
everyone to
would
come
be
towards
some
you.
shit that Grok suggests. No bullshit.
For real. I'm telling you, dude. That's what's going on right now. We're not seeing Elon Musk. We're seeing Grok live in action. That's not Elon anymore. This is all Grok being programmed. Like, I want some chat GPT when I get in my lawyer mode, but I'm just imagining what kind of mode Elon's on right now. And it's just he's right now programmed to go. Like, he's going full blast every day, 7 days a week.
Yo, Dbloc, since we have since it's a short week, do you think that affects the 3-day retracement?
Yeah, I
Maybe it
think
turns
that's
into
I think that's why we started it on Sunday, right? We didn't get that high on Monday. I think that might be the reason. They didn't want to risk that there wouldn't be enough time to get these liquidations. But I'm not talking anything crazy, guys. You know how I feel about deviations out of the range, right? You get a deviation out of the range on the top side, you typically get a matching deviation under. Right? As above, so below. So even in a bullish light, we'd come down, smack those liquidations, come back in, and it'd just be a deviation the way this was. I'm not talking about anything crazy. Once we get down to these levels and we start breaking through some of this, we can take a look at the data and see if it looks any sketchier. But for right now, I'm just looking 105.5 once this sort of breaks apart. And I'm thinking it takes us at least 2 days to get there. Yeah, I mean, well, no, not really. It just depends on how small time frame you want to, quick short. But you're middle of the range right now. Like literally 50-50 middle of the range. Daily open is running right down the middle of our range. So losing that daily open would be sort of your signal that we're going to continue down.
I wasn't gonna short up the Bitcoin anyway. I was gonna short a shitcoin, but
Oh,
there
well,
was
there's
nothing that
always,
was like
it's always
pumping
like
into resistance.
never too late to short a shitcoin. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Just gotta wait
I
for
need something
entry.
that's pumping. Yeah, I need something to pump into resistance and then I can short it.
Let's see. Anything abnormally moving here? Oh, what a good TP on Sol. Let's just take a minute and just digest what an amazing TP on Sol that was earlier.
That was pretty clutch. Pretty clutch. I honestly thought it might have had a little bit more to go in it.
Me too. I'm not gonna lie. Like it didn't feel like the right thing to do. That's what kind of made me know it was the right thing to do. But it definitely didn't feel like it. I was like, oh, bro, you're about to get left behind in 4K right now.
Yeah, well, little do does the audience know.
What was I coming over here to look at?
Abnormally moving coins.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. No real standout. I mean, VRA took the biggest hit, but you want to see something that's in double digits all by itself. Everything's basically 0.25% away. BCH is a little pumpy here. 30%.
I might be a good candidate.
Look at this thing. BCH just moves so crazy when it decides to go.
Why is it doing that?
I have no idea. The last thing that I've done in the last month is any hardcore BCH deep dive. You know what I mean? Like BCH just runs in the background until it decides to go, and then you just stuck looking at it in awe. Like I want to compare
remember a
this
couple of
to
years ago
everything else. Like look at where BCH is on its sort of 4-hour pattern versus like H bar. It's literally still down at the bottom. So crazy. And then that's. But yeah, if you swung at the bottom on BCH, and you know the crazy thing is that you either, well, yeah, I guess you got a little bit, but you didn't get much time on that high or low to make a decision. So you either bought 250s or 300s, and you're sitting at 520 now. Daily what? Bitcoin? Yes, bearish engulfing. You're coming back into your retests. Our 50 EMA is at 1043. The next couple days, that'll move up to like 105. That'll be the floor that I'm saying we don't break. 105.5, or maybe just holding on the 13 EMA. But in this range is where I'm looking for our retracement. Not far at all. 105.5 keeps us from coming back into this vector. And if we do come back into that vector, then in my opinion, the 50 holds us anyways. So not a lot of room there to worry about. A perfect example of what I'm talking about is here. Big vector left behind, needed to hold it, kind of sketchy, but enough time passed to where the 50 EMA moved up and kept it from recovering the whole vector. Right. Even though we did have a swing here, right, that took some of it, but same sort of deal. Weekly looks good though. That's nice. This whole setup right here reminds me of when we hit the 50 down at 70s. Right, this same sort of deal. Let's see, circle. Well, we're going to make a decision here real soon whether or not they're going to come back down through this vector. I hope they do. I would love to pick that shit up closer to 150. Excuse me. But what we are doing is just extending this downtrend by a lot. This is what I wanted to show you guys last time. When we came down and actually found that floor, right? It was that double tap that took us out, right? Same here, lower time frames because it's smaller, but it's that double tap at support that eventually breaks that uptrend. So I'm looking at this close because either we haven't found the bottom yet, right? Or we're about to get the double tap. So if we come down to 176 and I see increased volume, then I might swing at it. You know what I mean? If not, then I'm hoping to pick up deeper into this gap. Yeah, a little bit of patience is going to go a long way with circle. This is just a regular volume indicator. The one TradingView gives you. Just double click it. Put the brightest green, brightest red you can, and then change it from line to step with diamonds. See, that's usually how it comes as columns. And that's step line with diamonds. It's just, sometimes I want the volume on the screen, but this shit is driving my OCD crazy. You know what I mean? Just too much.
You ever use the VRVP?
Yeah. All the time. Always on my screen.
There it is.
No, but I use the VPVR.
Get him, he's from a different timeline. That's how you know. If you don't remember the Jersey drones and you call it the VRVP versus VPVR, then you're from a different timeline.
Yeah, someone got Mandela.
There was no end result. The end result was New Year's. New Year's Eve, everybody went and partied, fireworks. You have 1 million people looking at the skies on New Year's Eve because of, because of fireworks shows. No drone reports that night at all, after having constant nightly drone reports for the last 3 months. And then January 1st, poof, rubbed off of socials. You literally have to go in and search hashtags to be able to find any leftover drone shit. But it was off of your algo. It wasn't on your front page when you opened up your Instagram or your Facebook. On the 5, let me check. Yeah, more of a flag than a pennant, but yeah. It's pretty clean, bear flag. That would basically bring you through these liquidations. Yeah, no, right? It's like I'm gonna make merch with a hoodie that's got a drone on it. And on the back it says never forget. We'll start a movement.
Never forget VPVR.
I've personally never used BitUnix, Serbo. I I do have recent memory of somebody complaining about. Isn't there somebody in here complaining about BitUnix that had skipped one of their stop losses? I don't want to say the wrong exchange if it wasn't that, but somebody was complaining about it the other day. I think. Nah, it wasn't WeX. It was another one. Nah, Weeks Scam Weeks is always the first. Yeah. I'll be right back.
I've used Unix, but Unix is pretty good overall. I've never had any issues with it.
Yeah, it did some funny thing to me the other day. I had a long open, and when I when I went back to the page, I guess I was switching between like tabs. It showed a positive number, like plus $250 for like a few seconds, and I was like, oh, like there's no way I'm up that much already. Like there's no way. And then it automatically refreshed back to showing my actual negative balance. So I was like, all right, that's weird. And then it happened a couple more times. So I managed to take a screenshot and I opened up one of those like assistant chat things and I spoke to them. And they were trying to convince me that it was just showing me what my PL was set to. So I was kind of having a little argument with the guy. I was like, "Nah, man, this is supposed to show you what you're currently at. I'm trying to trade with you guys to have an edge. Now I got to sit here double checking my trades before making, a quick action. That's unacceptable." And he was still trying to convince me that that's how it's supposed to be. And then he escalated it up, I guess. So they ended up giving me like a $500 voucher for futures, which is all bull, right? But
Yo, no, that's a lot, dude. Damn. So I'm about to complain right now. $500?
so I'm gonna be honest. I took a picture of it and I told them I only took a picture of it to send it to my brother because I was happy, just so it wouldn't look sketch. because I knew what I was doing. Like I almost closed my trade thinking I was in the positives, truthfully. And then I realized it just kept doing that glitch. So I was complaining about it because I eventually did close it because I was only negative like 45. And I was like, yeah, I closed it. I thought, I was in the positives. Like, what's up with this? And then again, that guy was trying to basically, I wasn't really trying to put up a fight, but because he was trying to tell me something it wasn't, you know, like he clearly had no idea what he was talking about. So that's what kind of got under my skin. And then yeah, I came on the next day and I had a $500 voucher. Which I used to like those things because I used to be very patient and slowly convert it to like actual cash, like realized profits. But I just don't have patience for it, man. I don't like using leverage. I really don't. I had this little theory. I was gonna ask Dbloc about it, but I debunked it myself, and it didn't work out as well as I thought. But my theory was, say you have a $500 credit, right, and you don't want to use leverage, but you have it available. What's the quickest turnaround, to basically transfer it to your spot account? And my bright idea was to open up a short and a long simultaneously, right? And then it's got to go one direction. So once it what you do is you take the take profit and you set it at the liquidation amount of the opposite trade, right? So in theory, if it was to liquidate your short, you'd end up making back money on your long, right? So in theory, I thought it was just an easy way to convert it out, but you still end up losing a lot of money on it. It's not really worth it.
thought you were gonna say it was Fox News.
What do you mean? It's fair and balanced.
They're in balance to the tune of $787 million for Lion.
Yo, yeah, man, I love that show. It's great. It's basically the entire thing. They ran a conservative television station. Yeah, that was a pretty brutal show towards the end there. Right? The show I really like that's kind of somewhat like that is Billions. If you haven't seen that, just take a peek. It's the same sort of like financial wealthy people, but it's like hedge fund. But yeah, it's really good. and it's got Paul Giamatti in it.
You know, it's a good day. Like, I'm saying I got my own. I got my own chaos. And
Oh yeah, yeah. Everybody's got their their trials and tribulations, all that stuff in life. I mean, that's just the way life is. If it wasn't for that, then what would it be?
yeah, I mean, like, what would be the point too, right? Like, not saying hardship is ideal, but like, you know, it builds you. So makes it all worth it. Like once if you overcome it and surpass the thing and learn from it. So that's why I like shows like that. 'Cause it's like I can learn from your struggles and not mine. For like 5 minutes. Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was a wild. Yeah, like I'm trying to shift my perspective. Like, dude, when a lot of times I just look for a really good entry and I just go like high leverage, you know, no holds bars, and then I end up getting wrecked. So like I'm trying to like build my positions slower now and take a little more time and measure moves and like adjust accordingly, you know. And it's been a bit like testing my patience, but like also uh, feels good to not be like just totally in the red or like losing a bunch of positions or even into my profits and stuff. So
All right. Yeah, that sucks to hear, DJ. Yeah, I always look at it for the extremes. If you lose the, excuse me, if you lose any of the EMAs, um, with confirmation, it's good. But yeah, the 200 EMA, because remember the 200 EMA is basically the give or take the 50 on the 15. All that really matters is the whatever EMA you're using out of the out of the ones that we use, that you wait for that confirmation of the break and then you look to see what's the next EMA, right? Because 9 times out of 10 the target's going to be mean reversion to the 800 or mean reversion to the 50 depending on how they're stacked. And then you look at that gap and you're like, all right, is there enough gas to get there? You look at the liquidations, you start looking for support. Is there anything that could stop it? And then you're good to go. Yeah, this price action is rough. Souls come down so far. Let's see where we're at. Where are we at? Hmm. So we're looking at a golden pocket. If we come down to the 50 on the hourly, we're going to be looking at basically a golden pocket retracement on this soul pump. Yeah. Yeah, coming down to the 800 down to 150 would clear the entire vector. That shit feels like feels a little bit like Doge back in the days. You get a big explosive tweet based, news based pump, and then just give it all back. But let's not exaggerate. We haven't given it all back. Let me see. Yeah, and our bottom is here, so yeah. Give me a second. It's raining and I left some shit outside. I'll be right back.
I just realized that that close we just had, that was the monthly close, right? Today was a monthly close.
Monthly, 3 monthly, 6 monthly.
Yes, sir. The three.
What up?
I'm back. I need 1 second just to set start up on the side screen.
What up?
Yo, what's the deal?
What's going on, Emad? Give me 1 second. I'm
Yo.
here. I'm just finishing something up real quick.
All right.
You good though?
Yeah, just working on some.
All right, be right back.
Music. Just coming to hang.
Trying to break down to that little out of that little bear flag. Measured move takes us down through the liquidations.
Hey, yo, did you get a PO box yet? They'll send you
No,
some
bro.
CD.
No, I haven't.
Damn. Whenever you do, I'm gonna send you some stuff.
I always say I'm going to, and then I never remember when I'm out. But yeah, I gotta
Yeah.
do it. Mike
Or if you
wants
got
to.
like another address.
Mike wanted to send me some Zens and shit too, so I got. Oh, give me a second.
Well,
Anybody watching this FIFA game right now? It's crazy.
YJ, you have an open mic, brother.
Oh. Respect. There we go.
right. Dun, dun. Nothing to fear here, guys. Everything's just according to plan so far. Going into day 2 of our 3-day retracement. In a couple hours here.
All right.
I'll take a look
But
at
try to
again, Mike. Give me a second.
set some orders when you start. What do you call it when you average in and you set the orders? Feather in, or what do you call it?
Like dollar cost average or what?
No, when you're looking to when you hit your target to start buying, you set the orders to fill.
Yeah, like layering into
Like,
your
yeah,
trade.
sprinkle
Layer
it.
in, layer in. So
Yeah.
Sprinkle.
I'm a layer with you. Don't set them layers like lasagna.
No, what do you mean by that?
Hit them layers like lasagna. I like that.
Also could be scale.
Yeah, I'm waiting on that. Got a little extra powder.
Yeah, Mike. I remember last time we looked at currencies. Everything was up against their downtrends, waiting to pop. It'd be good to do a little update on that real quick.
There's some news coming out of Japan. I can't remember reading something there. Something's going on with Japan, and then potentially rate hikes. He may, because I think Ueda is talking tomorrow alongside Powell, and he might sound kind of hawkish. They're saying.
It'd be interesting if those two are. There's a lot of communication between central banks, so they probably have a way better idea of what Powell's thinking than even we do. You know, it's such a delicate balance between U.S. and Japan because of that damn carry trade. Oh yeah, more than ever, slick.
Yeah, I would say a lot of them know before he talks, right? I mean, the big players.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think of it, right? You're making decisions for your sector, but you're not going to make big changes like that without knowing exactly what all the other central banks are thinking.
Right.
Because they're liable to do something, and maybe you don't have to do something because they're raising over here, and that's going to have a bubble effect. Like, yeah, think the big round table, all the old men sitting around it,
Yeah,
rubbing their
the Oval
greedy little
Office there.
hands.
So what time does the U.S. market come in? We're already past the U.S. market now, aren't we? I mean, 8 to 4.
Yeah. We're in Asia right now.
So that puts America right on time when he talks. You know what I mean? We come in at 8 o'clock and then he talks at 9:30, so it's perfect timing.
I think Ueda might be the market shaker. Honestly, I think Powell maybe. I think Ueda is going to say something. Bank of Japan guy.
Yeah.
Everyone expects Powell to say something. It's gonna be Japan, dude. They work together. I was like, "Look, I can't be bearish right now, man. Trump's on my ass. You gotta take this."
Powell's gonna bring him out on stage in the next FOMC in the press conference, dual press conference. I'm all in, bro. I'm not even gonna wait for the first question to drop. I'm all in at that point.
Is somebody speaking at 9:30 tomorrow, or is Powell speaking?
I think Powell is speaking.
Yeah,
So
Jerome Powell speaking in the morning at 9:30 about rate hikes, but in the U.S., if he's going to raise them, the interest rates, he's going to raise them or keep them the same or lower them,
is
whatever.
it is the FOMC's tomorrow?
No.
Are he speaking about it tomorrow?
No.
Not the FOMC.
Okay, thank
Don't
you.
expect any sort of what we're listening for tomorrow is just language, tone. Don't expect any sort of news on rate cuts. We can,
There's no rate decisions.
Now we can look
Is
at
this the
Fed
standard?
rate. We can look at we're at 19%.
July.
We went up 1%. We were at 18.6%. We went up like 0.5% in the possibility.
All for the likelihood.
Yeah, for the
Fed Watch tool?
likelihood. Yeah.
Okay.
September
Well, we
looks
can't forget that.
amazing though. September is almost at like 95% already.
Is tomorrow like a normal thing during the month? Sorry, I just jumped in. I just didn't know something was tomorrow.
No,
Yeah,
it's
I'll pull up
like
Fed
every year, like all the central bankers, they usually meet like at a conference, and so it's like the central bank from like England, Japan, like the U.S., POW, a couple others are gonna, and then some other like economic speakers are gonna. It's like a big conference, and then they have panel discussions where like all the central banker leaders are up on stage, and they start talking their piece on where they see the economy, like interest rates, like developments and stuff like that. So it's not no decisions, but they can obviously start showing some hints on where they're leaning at and what they kind of see as on the horizon. And like Dbloc said, like language matters. Like if if it's super hawkish or dovish on their outlook.
One of the analysts that I follow pretty closely is like, he really knows this shit, knows what he's talking about. But sometimes, like every once in a while, he just says something completely out of left field. I'm like, whoa, like that's really bold. And I'm like, whoa, like where do you get that from? And he was like,
Who's that?
Suggesting that there could potentially be FX evolution, but he was suggesting that there could potentially be he's actually an Aussie, Rick. He was suggesting that there could potentially be a like 8 to 10 rate cuts this year, and I'm like, what? I'm like, where are you getting that from?
This guy's
like
drunk, bro. He's not good at numbers.
There's not enough meetings.
There's not enough days
There's
in
not
them.
enough meetings left.
I know. I'm like, how?
The next meeting he comes in and announces 4 consecutive rate cuts.
We'll do this cut tomorrow, this cut the next day, this cut.
No, take a look at
maybe I'm gonna have to look at it and watch it again because maybe I misheard him or maybe
Yeah,
he was talking
there's
about 2026 or something.
Yeah, 3 is the maximum that we could have, even if we get one at every meeting. So, Mike, this is Yen. We've been building this thing out, man. This thing's ready to go. Yeah, exactly.
Not every month has a rate decision in it.
Yeah, Rick, I'll send you the video though if you want to see it.
Okay. Is it Jason Pizzino? Because that guy's like,
oh my god.
Yo, let Dbloc cook real quick.
He's an Aussie too, but he says the same damn stuff over and over again.
Yeah,
he's kind of bearish. He's like a little bit more bearish leaning, I find.
And then he uses his brother for correlation. Like he's
Yeah.
like if you look on Twitter, another analyst, I'm like, that's your brother, bro.
Yeah.
Like that's
There's a lot of analysts.
like that's your brother.
There's a lot of analysts that just remix what the rest of like crypto Twitter and crypto YouTube are saying anyway. You know, they just say the same stuff.
Yeah, they're all
They just put it
technicals,
out.
bro. They're all technicals, and then they sort of outsource their fundamentals to Twitter.
Yeah.
His grandma's got some great calls though. He's all over it.
And you can tell
I
the ones
watched
that are
him
in.
for a while, and I was like, so
Give me a second, guys. Give me a second. Let me get through these currencies real quick. They were asking for it in YouTube. Pounds breaking out. Remember, we're looking to see the Dixie take a hit, right? For us to do well, Dixie's got to break support. Oh, we're already at that uptrend. I didn't even notice that we made that move. All right, so what we're waiting to see is Dixie gonna lose this uptrend, right? Dixie loses uptrend, we get a push up on all risk on anything that's priced in the dollar. It gets a tick in price, but for that we need every other currency to pop. Right, so British pound is already doing what it's supposed to do. Euro is already broken out of its broken out of its downtrend, doing what it's supposed to do. The yen is still building out, right? The yen's what we're sort of worried about here. When the yen goes, it'll finish pulling. It's like when Ethereum, it's like the effect that dominance Ethereum has on dominance. It's very similar to the effect that yen has on dollar. When yen goes, dollar will drop for sure.
And that's the market we're in right now, right?
Yeah.
Japan.
Yeah, and then the Aussie dollar is breaking out as well. Well, nope,
Go Aussie.
I'm lying. Still underneath its downtrend, but it's, it's there. It's there. We need everybody, right? The Dixie needs all of these to pump. The good thing is that they're all sort of set up for that pump. And then just take a look at US M2. This is not global. This is US. As soon as we break those highs, right in this dollar box, is when things go stupid for us. We've already broken the highs, right? So that stealth QE that we've been talking about is well in effect right now. They're already printing. The money printer is already going. They just won't call it QE. They refuse to call it QE, but they're buying bonds. So, call it what you want. There is easing.
most of the $1 bills I've been getting lately are like really crisp, brand spanking new. I don't know if that's because they traded them in or they're printing new ones, like actually printing new physical notes, or they could be trading them in. I'm not sure. I had a discussion with the lady at the bank about it. But I
Don't
knew
they
more about
they freshen
things
up
than she
they
did.
freshen up the notes every now and then.
Yeah. Well, the key is gold, right? Like we see how we're following Bitcoin on this we're following Bitcoin on the 105-day offset for global M2, but look at what happens when you go to gold. Right? So here's gold. Now here's gold on a 0 offset to global M2.
And here's gold on drugs.
Yeah, when
You
a
see that? Look at the correlations on this for a second. Hold on. Because we're used to looking at these tight correlations on the offsets that we have on Bitcoin. But look at gold on a 0 offset. Look at the correlations. Just recently, because of war, obviously, right? We had this downtrend on gold because we hit all-time highs. and global M2 is still going. But for the most part, you got 95%, 96%, 95%, 98%, 93%. And it's because as central banks go printing, the first thing they buy with their funny money is gold. Before you even get dollars that they print dollars, take those dollars, buy gold, then the dollars go into circulation. So as M2 goes up, gold goes up, which should tell you a little bit of something on how they feel about the money that they're printing, right? If it was so valuable, why don't they just hold the money? Well, no, they switch it into gold very quickly. And what I'm saying is that the country that begins to do this with Bitcoin wins. Country that begins to print their dollars and immediately buy Bitcoin before their dollars go into circulation. And they do it until nobody in the world is willing to even accept the dollar anymore, are the ones that end up winning that. Our little global race for Bitcoin domination, or whatever the hell they got going.
And we shall call it the Bitcoin standard, and it shall be done.
Bro, I would do it. Let me be the president of some small country with my currency going to shit. I would put
El
those money
Salvador.
printers on high and just buy as much Bitcoin as possible. I would tap all my natural resources, exactly what they're doing. Problem is that you kind of need to be like a dictator, right? You need to be able to just wave your hand and make shit happen. There's too much red tape. There's too many people who make money off the system exactly the way it is right now, and to just be able to blanket change things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, will it happen in this lifetime? But I mean, the next 25 years.
A smaller country, yeah. I think we're maybe a cycle or two away from a smaller country just disrespectfully
already
printing
Yeah, but
and
look,
buying as
look,
much Bitcoin as possible.
yeah, but look how
Isn't
the
isn't
IMF.
that what El Salvador's doing? I
In
don't
a
know if they're
way,
printing.
yeah, but I would be even more aggressive than El Salvador's being.
How much money would that take?
Well, that's the thing, right? When you print money, it doesn't matter. So it
Right.
takes a combination of having a currency that has some sort of value still. So you can't wait until you're in El Salvador's position where you were already getting debased at double digits, per week. So it has to be a currency that still has some sort of value. Like, let's say like Canada or something. They just slowly
Yeah.
start selling off natural resources and printing and buying as much
yeah.
Bitcoin as they possibly can and accumulate as much Bitcoin as they possibly can before
You
people
have to
no
sell off
longer take
natural
the
resources.
yeah you gotta
or
yeah you
whatever.
gotta you're gonna
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
if you
You'd have to
want to
make
win
sh-
the nation state game, right? If you want to catch up to the US, you want to catch up to countries that already have a bunch of seized Bitcoin and shit like that, because that's the game theory, right? Like, who's gonna have the biggest pile? But it just makes sense, especially for
the
nation states that
resources
have
that
longer time frames, right? Like, they're thinking 20,
yeah,
If you
30,
have
the
like an
40,
only
50 years out,
an
100 years out.
you have like an only buy policy, like Michael Saylor.
Yep.
You don't sell it. You just if it dips, it's not a bad thing. It's just you buy more.
Buy only, collateralize a responsible amount during bear markets, and just keep stacking. Yep. Pay people
Like bear markets are
dividends.
pretty short anyway, really. They're like a year, is it? It goes down for a year.
It sucks for us, but in a country like
Yeah.
for a country, it's nothing.
Yeah, when you're long terming, yeah. You're just buying the discounts.
Secretly,
And
that
then
Mr. 100
Did you guys hear
that's
that?
been buying that 100 Bitcoin every day for taking a couple breaks here and there, but for the For the past 2 years, for the most part, every day 100 Bitcoin.
They've been pretty consistent, yeah.
That's a country. That 1000% guaranteed is a country. It's a country that hasn't announced that they're stacking yet. And it's a country with a lot, like with very deep pockets. So for me, if I had to put money on it right now, I would say it's probably like Qatar.
I bet you it's not Australia.
It's probably not Australia, to be fair.
Dude, we're so far back. We're so far behind, man. We like wait for the rest of the world to do a thing, and then we're like, oh, okay, we'll join in.
Bro, don't think you're that
And
far
it's and even then
behind.
it's
State of Connecticut
oh,
just announced that there will be no Bitcoin reserve, made it illegal to have a Bitcoin reserve or to invest in any digital assets on a state level, like for the
where?
state to do it themselves.
Oh, Connecticut.
Connecticut, yeah.
Oh.
It's like, it's not even like, you think like Connecticut, like you don't even think of that as like a backward sort of state, you know, or a slow moving state.
This is
Right.
Can't get it from Connecticut.
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 Exactly. It's
Connecticut.
I cut. Yep.
Connecticut.
Connect the right.
better
Connect the
down.
right cuts.
The one good thing about this country is that the way it's supposed to work is if you don't agree with what's going on in your state, you get to find a state that more fits your, you know,
Amen,
your
brother.
ideals.
Amen. That pumps me up. Let's go.
Most people
That's
don't, though.
cool, man.
Most people will just sit in their state and complain, but that's the way it's supposed to work.
State of
Yeah, dude,
confusion.
you guys are so lucky. Like in our country, whatever the rule is for the main city, that's the rule for the entire country.
Like the federal.
Yeah, in the U.S., like my friends, they keep moving states, and I ask them why they keep moving states. Like my friends in Cali, they are all in Texas now because the taxes are way better, you know, and just the living conditions are way better, and you can do that. You can choose which fits your the lifestyle that you want to lead. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You guys are so lucky.
Apparently, if you're a streamer, Miami's the place to be.
Bro, don't you live in a place where you can? Don't you live in the Philippines or something? You can live like a king for like $300 a month.
Well, that depends on where, right? I live in the main city, so it's okay. It's still cheaper than the Western countries, but yeah, 300's
Tropical island with a bunch
Like
of
we're
gorgeous
talking about, if
women.
you're saying 300, I mean, no air conditioning, wake up by the sea, you know, water is coconut juice. You know, if you want to live in the islands, yeah, 300's okay. But if you still want to be part of the metropolitan cities, there's still a price tag to it.
I was gonna say there's
Dbloc, why Miami?
levels. There's levels to all that shit. Miami and Texas, well, Florida and Texas, right? You got no state income tax. So if you're making a decent amount of money, you save a lot by just living in. So then now you just got to pick culturally, right? Do you lean
So
more like
what tax do
Texas,
they
or
ask
do
for
you
you? What
lean more
tax is?
like Miami, right? Like more city, more. You want a more tropical vibe?
Yeah, Washington doesn't have income tax either, but sales tax is ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm getting ready to ask. So what's the sales tax? You can either buy it or not. But at that point, right?
Yeah.
It's the property tax too.
Oh, it's horrible,
both.
bro. Nah, Texas is probably a way better choice when it comes to if you're thinking about buying a big house or something.
Delaware's got no sales tax too, and we got nice beaches.
But a lot of young
Well,
people are coming to
reality-
Miami, specifically like content creators, just because the city's super friendly for it. City's really big on crypto. Like Miami's the choice if you're into crypto, any sort of crypto business, or you're making your money in crypto and content creation, just tax-wise, ease of use. If you're young and you want to flex, you probably want to come to Miami.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
you're old, you want to go to Fort Lauderdale.
Miami's the crypto capital of the world.
Feels like it sometimes. It gets a little. I'm a little clouded. Like when I talk to people, like my idea of how much adoption there really is a little bit clouded because of the city. Because you can basically just talk to anybody about crypto, and even if they don't know, they'll pretend they know. They know enough to know that they should pretend they know. They can't just be like, "Oh, I've never heard of crypto." You know what I mean? They'll bullshit, and you know that they don't know anything when they start talking, but at least they'll pretend like they have some sort of idea of what you're talking about. I'm sure it's not like that in like 80% of the rest of the country. You probably get deer in headlights sort of look when you talk to people about crypto, right?
Yeah, in Indiana, it's like that.
There's been ATM machines in all the gas stations for at least 10 years, maybe 8. Everywhere that there's a Visa, MasterCard, there's usually a little Bitcoin logo. You know, most small businesses, you could probably peer-to-peer Bitcoin transaction with no problem. Right? You can go in a small business, be like, do you accept Bitcoin? They probably have a wallet.
Yeah, in Chicago, though, they got. I've been seeing a bunch of these ATMs for Bitcoin, but nothing more than that.
They're gonna start moving out because the guy that controlled all the Bitcoin ATMs in Miami got indicted on some money laundering shit. But I'm pretty sure that that is gonna move through all the states, right? That business model, quote unquote, will be duplicated.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy here because, like, if you go to like a Thornton's or Circle K, there's not one. But if you go to like an Indian-owned smoke shop or
Immigrants.
little gas station like that, they're in there.
Yeah, it's the same thing here. That's why it got big in Miami, I think, because there's a lot of migrant workers and like undocumented, and they used to get targeted before because you can't bank, right? So you know if you're a day worker, day labor, you're probably walking around with tons of cash, or you've got tons of cash in your house. So people from Miami, you know, like criminals are gonna criminal. They're like easy targets. So you would see like around 5 o'clock after work was out, you would see them at the Bitcoin ATMs turning their cash into Bitcoin. It's
Yeah,
just a way
exactly.
to bank the unbanked, you know, for
That's
whatever
right.
reason you happen to be unbanked, yeah. And then you can easily send your Bitcoin to, you know, your family can have your Bitcoin address, and now they have access to the Bitcoin. You don't have to pay remittances. You don't have to pay stupid high percentages on MoneyGram to send money to your,
Yeah,
you know.
instead of MoneyGram, you
Yeah.
can send Bitcoin. Yeah, that's the same way it is here. Yeah.
Even better, you don't even have to send it, right? Because if it's your family, they can just have your wallet address. So as soon as you deposit your Bitcoin, they've got it.
Yep. I never thought about it like that, but yeah, you're right
Yeah,
there.
you could have
for
like
sure.
a family wallet where you and, you know, one other person on the other side has the keys.
You see them at the colleges out here, and in your colleges, and then a little bit in the city, but not very much.
I went to get a haircut today. And I guess they were doing that preliminary vote on the Genius Act or whatever. They were reading it out, sort of like the same thing they've been doing for the last couple of days, but they were taking some votes today. And they had it up on the screen at the barbershop. And this was early morning, and there was people there that you could tell were there to get a haircut before work, right? Get a haircut, go to work. And we're all sitting there and reading the bill, and this little old guy sitting in the corner goes, They're making decisions on how bad they're gonna fleece us for the next 4 years, and these people couldn't even bother to show up to work to vote. And that shit hit so hard because it's true. Like, it was empty in there, you know, and everybody's supposed to be there, but they'll send an assistant or they'll send, and here you are in a barbershop that's slammed full of people early morning before work. Because the contrast of it is crazy. I just thought about that because I'm thinking about this meeting tomorrow. Right? You have all the central banks sitting plotting like what life for everybody else is gonna look like for the next 5 years.
It's a vacuum up economy that kill your noise turtles down, right?
What we're trying to do here is give people tools that they need to claw themselves out of that shit. For me, crypto's way more than just a way to make a dollar.
That's what I'm
It's
good
the
for, man.
only way that I can see to break out of that whole cycle.
Yep. Without pre-existing conditions, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure that they get the information, Serbo. But there is something that felt disrespectful to a room full of working people that they couldn't bother to come show face. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was the same yesterday when I was watching the big beautiful bill. Like, the senators were only there just to talk, and then they'd leave, and nobody else was in the room. Ridiculous. But nobody wants to hear it. It doesn't really matter. It's such a party line deal. So, like, if you look
Yeah.
at
And I get it, bro. I listened to 2 hours of that shit being read out and I was dozing, bro. But I don't get paid to do that job either. So,
yeah, but you know what I'm saying. Like, at least you sat there and watched it. I sat there and watched it for like 2 hours too. It just blew me away that the people who are actually supposed to be voting on it weren't there. But again, it's just party lines. It was pretty cool seeing the Republicans stand up and just rip on it, though. I was like, oh, wow, there's a Republican actually talking. And of course, he's like, well, I'm also retiring, so this doesn't really matter to me in my political career.
it's getting some pushback across the board.
Yeah, I only saw that one. I didn't see anybody else.
Yeah. It's
I
getting a
did
little
think it was
pushback across the board.
the senator from Hawaii. She was like, this is the 964 pages of pain for the rich people's gain or something like that. I was like, oh, you're being snazzy.
I'll be honest with you, like for where we're sitting, because we're in position and we're invested, we want that to pass. Whether it's going to be the best for the future is questionable, but we want that to pass because it kind of sets up for our bear market as well, right? It gives us our influx of capital, makes the money printers go burr, and it sets us up for our bear market. So if we're going to be completely like just sort of selfish, like look at it selfishly, we want it to pass as quickly as possible. Now, if you want to have arguments on long-term effects, then one, I'm going to need evidence that you sat through the 5 hours of freaking reading because I did it. I can't even have a full argument about it because I did as much as any one human could, bro. I could not take any more.
Yeah, but like
But
Carl came in and just
I'm gonna break it down though. I'll take it. I'll use AI to sort of sort through some of the bullshit.
I mean, I think the main piece of it is, extending the tax cuts for the wealthy. I mean, that's what it came in, and it's just a renew of that. I mean, it's what, 60% for, the ultra wealthy and 40% for the middle class. That's okay. You know, I plan on being filthy rich, right? Because who needs healthcare? Sorry, that sounded political. It wasn't meant to be. That was their argument.
Yeah, well, the easiest way out of that shit is to not need them for anything. And this is the quickest way there.
I don't remember who I was listening to earlier, but some senator, and he's like, I think any senator that's trading off of inside information that they're getting that the public doesn't have access to should be punished to the fullest extent of the law. He's like, but I don't do that though. Yeah, I just trade ETFs. Curious. I kind of want to check out his portfolio.
No, I promise you that he probably doesn't do that just because he said some shit like that out loud. All the other ones are like, "Hey, get this. Who is this guy? Get this guy out of here."
Yeah, right. He's like, well, he's not. Well, that's the thing, right? Like, if you were gonna like lead the charge and you knew that no one could put two and two together how you were doing it, like, yeah, you'd be the one to call. He was a little nervous, but it's either he's nervous because he's calling him out, or he's nervous because he's totally guilty of the thing that he's talking about.
Yeah, and it's crazy how often that happens, where you get these people who are, these big evangelists of an idea, and they're just guilty of that same crime. Like, how many times we've seen like
It always happens.
You know what I'm saying?
Always.
Like priest or
projection, right?
Yeah, exactly, projection. But you know what I'm saying? Like, how many times you see a story about, some teen counselor that was there to help victims of sexual abuse ends up being a sexual abuser.
Not even the teen counselor. Some of the senators and shit that have gone hardest against sort of like the gay rights or anything are the ones that end up getting caught in the airport bathroom.
Yeah, that guy, what was his name? Yep. Wiener? Yeah, Wiener got caught in the bathroom. What a
That's
great
when
name
that's when we all found out about the bathroom code. The tapping under the I didn't even know that was a thing. I'm so paranoid when I'm in the bathroom now. I'm like, y'all swear to God, if I even see a foot.
But what are the chances of it being a guy named Wiener? I mean, come on.
I mean, like, you can't lie. He can't even help but think about it all the time, right? Like, it's his name, man. That's just unfortunate naming, right?
Yeah, but it's worse to get caught in the bathroom, being a huge anti-gay.
Listen, if you've never had to go through elementary school, junior high school, and high school with the name Wiener, then don't judge, okay? You don't know the hell. You don't know the hell that he's been through.
No, yeah, I get what you're saying, Deke, but I was more like, the chances of this is the guy who's anti-gay that gets busted.
Nah, it always happens, bro. It always happens. The one that protests the most about drugs has usually got some sort of filthy shit going on.
Yeah,
like, I mean, even on the highest level, right? They were while we were selling guns for cocaine to the Contras, we were running the biggest DARE program in this country simultaneously.
Just say now. Yeah, good old Nancy Reagan.
So it's always like that. Yeah, people show their cards.
Yeah, like, I just generally assume if you're the one leading that charge, especially politicians, because they're like, it's their job to it's not their job to lie. It's basically their job to lie, right? So
Their job is to tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
The problem is that people don't take responsibility for that. It's just like social media. You go on social media and you're like, look at all this bullshit. Why is there so much bullshit on here? Why? You're responsible for your own algorithm. Take a minute and say, why does this algorithm think this is what I want to see? And when you hear a politician talking shit and talking crazy, ask yourself, why does this politician think that this is what I want to hear? And we got to take responsibility for that shit, because that's all they're doing, bro. They're just mirroring us. Trust me, if they didn't think you wanted to hear it, they wouldn't say it.
I can't remember who said it. Yeah, I think of the rapper, but talking about, like, they just take the things that we love and formulate it into into a method, right?
Bro, if you open up your Instagram and you go on there and it's just a bunch of bullshit, that's your fault.
Yo, my Instagram is highly tweaked.
They all
It is.
are. They're all highly tweaked to what you show interest in, right? So if you're
Oh
on
yeah.
there and you're constantly pissed all day, it's because when you see something that upsets you, you jump in it, you put a comment, you send it to your group chat, you fight with somebody for 3 hours in the comments, and their job is to keep you on the app, right? So you're training the app to show you what you want to see. So
Oh
stop
yeah.
feeding the negativity and your app will get better.
Yeah. Yep. No, 100% agree.
I mean,
Well,
even
that's like
all the time. I mean, they always say, you know, do as I say, not as I do. You know what I mean? There's a saying, you know, that's why it always says, man, do what I say, not as I do.
Well, it's like that's like the energy you put out is see, and that's like even more so with algorithms and with the echo chambers. So like, yeah, man. Especially because your phone's listening to you. Like all these devices are listening to you. Yeah, picking up data, selling that data, using that data to advertise to you. So even more so.
All right, so we broke that bear flag and we retested the 50 underneath bearishly. Now we've just got to take out these lows and then we can go and play this measured move out and take all these liquidations with us. Nice little chunky bit of liquidations underneath. And then we'll be back to the bottom of that range.
I bet Miami's been hopping the past couple weeks, isn't it? With the FIFA World Cup in Orlando right now, 3 hours away from you.
Man, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing outside. I'm getting to the bag in here, though. There was some F1 parties I remember not too long ago that my buddies were at. They're like, yo, we got a table at this F1 event. I'm like, nah, good. Sometimes you gotta lock in, bro. All those distractions, everything around you, no matter how important it is, you've got to prioritize and you got to lock in. Because nobody else is going to do that shit for you, right?
You got that right.
And then you get called lucky after. That's the fun part. Then when it all works out and you finally are popping out to the parties and you're chilling, you're on your off time, you get introduced as Dbloc, your friend that got lucky in crypto.
Yeah, guy that did it overnight without putting any work in.
Yeah. Nah, lucky my ass. Remember all those nights? Remember all those club nights that you called me to come out? All them parties I said no to? All those lit after parties at 6 o'clock in the morning where I hung up on your ass? Yeah.
Yeah, now they're coming to your party.
We all have the same 24 hours in a day, bro. What you choose to do with yours, you have to pay for in the future, you know?
I work in that business and I aspire to enjoy my life, but to do so, right? So like I don't go out for nothing, man. I just sit and watch the charts. But if I do it right, then eventually I'll have the freedom to fund and organize all the events that I want, man.
It's delayed gratification, bro. You gotta have goals and you can't let anything sort of get in the way of that, especially if you're responsible. Especially if there's other people that count on you succeeding, you know what I mean? Then there's like talking real pressure at that point. And to never lose that like hunger, right? Remember, it could always be taken away.
Yeah, 100%, man. I'm all here for the party, man, but like I don't want to be that dude, you know. 'Cause- And there's no like there's a million different things you could do to try to make those funds, but like I'm not trying to go a lot of routes, man. I'm trying to level up.
Nah, not all money is good money.
Yeah, level up
Rajesh,
with
you saw the
Sorry,
setup, Rajesh? Yeah, I gotta start cutting my camera on. I'll start cutting my camera on more. Let me probably clean the office before I do all that, but yeah, we used to have the cam on all the time.
Yeah, he used to have the camera on all the time for real, and this whole community's changed my life, and I mean, crazy. You know what I mean? I was able to take some time off, and here we go. Let's build our bags back.
I enjoyed it when you did the walk around town, Dbloc. That was awesome.
Yeah, we gotta do some IRLs. IRLs would be cool.
I'm definitely like, man, I was definitely, my algorithm picked up a certain channel that was, man, I'm super grateful for this community and for what you're doing, for all the people here too, man. Like, I've learned so much in such a short amount of time, and avoided a lot of that brainwashing a lot of these places do.
Yeah, I think that the timing of it's been really
I'm
good,
selling
bro.
everything.
The timing of it's been really good because like this is a bad time, and I'm not even trying to say that but let's just say this is the bad time to have been listening to the wrong person. You know what I mean? Like from
And
people
like,
saying it was over at World War III, over at 70, over at 49. The whole sketchiness about is it even a bull market anymore? Like I can't even imagine being new and then having like the person that I'm looking at as the person that sort of like has been here and knows what's going on, and then seeing them that indecisive. Oh shit, bro!
dude,
I'd have
and
been
it's
losing
like
my shit.
their leaders. Like I was looking at the videos, and it was like big pump right here, big pump, and then the next video literally was, watch out, this pump isn't a real pump, and like, okay, and like I'm not like that's how it goes sometimes, right? Like you don't always know how it's gonna go, so like I can understand that, but it was
I think
like
most of those
listening.
YouTubers don't even really know what the hell they're talking about, or they're intentionally misleading people. Like most of them,
Yeah,
not all of them. There's some good ones out there, but most of them either don't know what they're talking about or they're intentionally misleading the
Bro,
audience.
I saw
Well,
I saw a top 10 altcoins to buy. Right, top 10 altcoins to buy. Don't get left behind. Video, literally a week from a bull market is over. Video,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
1
man.
week's time on the same channel.
They're just they're just out
yeah.
there proving their mortality. They're mortals. They're mere mortals like us.
Well, like
Crazy.
like there was some good advice this person was giving, like with certain things, but like it was like they were just selling they're selling the course, and it's like they're like, we're not going to give you the sauce by the course, and then it was the fact that like a lot of the stuff, like, yeah, it's like basic stuff, look for reversals and pivots and this, that, and the other. But like the way they explained it, I was like, man, like I know just from like my short time here, like how misleading this would be, like to somebody that's like, oh, I'm gonna make some money in this market and oh, and it's this easy, I can just leverage into this position and and I was like, dude, like people are going to get wrecked,
Yep.
especially when they're like, oh yeah, I'll teach you how you can start to make money, but not the sauce on how to, you know. And
But
Like the funniest shit to me is these guys that are like, okay, so like trading's really not that hard. Oh, see, look here. All I had to do was wait for it to break this trend line. I entered a position, and it went up. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's great for you to show that, like, in hindsight, in the past, you know what the price action that already happened did. I'm like, now let's
Yeah.
see you make a live trade
Yeah.
and have
Do it
it be
live.
successful.
90% of these guys, they don't make money off of trading. They make money off of the viewers. They make money off of the
Yeah.
sponsorship, thumbnails.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So everybody's like, when are you gonna do recorded content? When you like, bro, listen, there's a lot of shit that I know that I could do to be a better YouTuber, right? Every one of those things is gonna take away from me being a better trader right now in this time frame with the way things are set up. So when you see somebody with the 3 posts a day and the videos, and he made 7 shorts, and there's 38 TikToks, 13 Twitter posts, there was no trading done that day. 0 trading went on that day. He spent every single moment of that day doing YouTube shit. These are
and on top of that,
these
even
are
if he gets a bunch
content
of views,
creators. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean,
even if he
even
gets
if
a bunch
they
of
are,
views, and the information's good, it's going to be outdated by the time you see it.
yeah, and like even if they are there trading or whatever, that means that they're paying, which means that they are charging a lot, which like there's a implied lack of value or cost to reach value right there, like a heavy cost. And like it's like, man, it was just like that, that culty behavior, man. Like I've like seen like real cults, and man, that stuff, like, that's gross to me, man. So I'm just really grateful. Like, this has been like, amazing. So thank you.
Did you drink the Kool-Aid?
Like I drank the mead. I didn't drink the Kool-Aid though. Start with Kool-Aid, man.
Yeah, all the best cults serve mead.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that, because I'm reading some of the YouTube comments, and I'm glad that y'all are cool with it, because yeah, the trading's never gonna suffer for the YouTube. Now during the bear market though, I'm gonna have plenty of time, and I'm gonna go hard on the YouTube. We're gonna change up a lot of shit, structure everything else out. Once everything's in place, it'll be easy to sort of run it into the bull market. But I think right now the value comes in watching this price action, right? More than anything.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, why even waste time bringing your camera up? It's the chart that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, during bear market too, I'm gonna be working on my like video composition because that's my off season too. Or it's gonna be around my off season when it starts. So I'm gonna be working on my video composition and editing and like content generation stuff. So yeah, man, definitely, like, if you just want some stuff, man, to like throw on the channel that's not too flashy, but like little upgrades, happy to do that, man.
Yeah, I've
The
been working on a lot of shit in the background, but it's just putting everything together. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so like if I'm gonna do it, it's gonna, I don't know. I know people like to see the progress, but I've always been the
You're
guy
good, man.
that doesn't roll the car out until it's finished, you know?
Respect that. That's important.
And
Enjoy
if
the
anybody
road,
hasn't really gotten the picture yet, it's like most of these other YouTubers, right? Like they're doing YouTube because they're trying to get YouTube famous. They're trying to make money. Dbloc is doing it to genuinely just try to help people understand what the hell's going on. That's his main motivation. He makes enough money from trading where he doesn't need to like try to like scam people into buying something or whatever, or promote like a course or whatever. He's giving you the sauce, and like just like his genuine motivation is, I want to try to help teach you guys what the hell's going on here.
Yeah, not one time in 5 or 6 years since I've been here has he ever tried to sell anything to anybody. He's the only one still. Well, him and Drew. Since
Hold
I've been
on.
coming around, him and Drew were like the in D-Block, dude. He has just continued to help and not ask for nothing in return.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah,
That's
and
successful trader. 'Cause the other ones, there's a reason why they need to sell courses and everything, because they take the money, blow their accounts or whatever they do, and then they need to keep feeding that machine because they don't have any other income or they can't sustain themselves.
Yeah, I don't even
That's
I understand. So don't get me wrong, right? If you're putting together a course and there's value there, right? There's time and effort that it takes to do that. So I understand somebody selling a course. Some of the prices are ridiculous, though. We have to really be honest, bro. Like, okay, it took you time, but if you're selling it to a couple thousand people, it does not have to be a $5,000 course, bro. Like, that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? And especially if it doesn't come with any sort of like mentorship and one-on-one, like you better be hands-on for that type of money, in my opinion. I still understand the value of $1, you know what I mean? And like I understand subscription based You know, people put a lot of effort into their discords, and there's a lot of updating and stuff. I understand being on a subscription based model, but $300 a month is ridiculous.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I'm
For
not
like,
against people
so it's
monetizing,
like
right?
there's
Like,
yeah, there's a way to do it properly, and as more value is added, right, then you can charge more, and you should get paid for the work that you put in. But you can just tell when it's
yeah,
extractionary. You know what I mean? Some of it's just so
yeah,
nasty. And then there's the three
that's
hundred dollar tier, but then there's the inner circle. You know, $1,000 a month. Then you get into the inner circle tier, and you know they get the information just a little bit before the other tier, and it's like, that's nasty, bro.
yeah, dude, that, and that's that
You
word
can't
is
blame those
perfect to
people, right?
describe it.
You
Sorry.
can't blame those YouTubers. I mean, if people are ready to pay that kind of
Yeah.
money,
Yep.
I mean, it's like a rug pull, it's like a coin, that. So it's stupidity, right?
Yep.
There's nothing
This
wrong
guy
with
in
paying
here
for your
like
wine,
wanna
but yeah, the way you described it as distractionary, I immediately, it was like listening to it for 5 minutes, man. I haven't listened to really like anybody else for people in this community for real for the last like while, right? And just, I haven't needed to. Like I've been able to learn at my pace, but like yeah, dude, like I could hear it's like they're pandering to their community to get their community to pander back to them to like get their community members to sell the thing and the community and the course, and it's like it took like maybe 5 minutes before it got to the like, and here's what you should,
it's
what we ask, what you pay. Like, okay.
it's sort of predatory too, because it's like people are
Yeah.
pretty desperate to like learn how to try to make money. It's like you'll probably learn more if you just went and took that money instead of taking a course and just did some independent research online and learned the basics,
Bro,
and
if you
then
just did what
like
I
had a whack at it.
if you just did what I said with the $100, if you just take your $100 challenge, just
Yeah.
$100, and you do 100 trades, $1 each, and you can't move from that $1, $100 sort of 100 trade scenario until you're profitable with that $100. Even if it cost you $1,000 and you had to go through that cycle 10 times, right? You learned more, I promise you, in those 1,000 trades than you did in any of these courses, and it cost you less. And then now,
I
when you actually start to educate yourself, after you do that, after you take 100 trades, 200 trades, now when you come to a group like this and you have a question, it's like, it's a question from experience. Hey, why is it that when I set my stop loss, it gets hit, da da da, instead of what's a stop loss? You know what I mean? There's a
Right.
there's a big difference.
Yeah, I was looking
Well,
at
there
the
was this this
Cypher
guy in
B and
here that
go
he,
ahead, bro.
he, well, there was this guy in here that like sort of he was new to trade. I'm not gonna say who it was, but he was sort of new to trading, and he was asking some questions. And I brought him into another room, and we actually like ended up on a private call. We talked for like a few hours, and we did a few sessions, like where I was just teaching him like some pretty basic stuff. I was like, learn this. I'm like, I'm giving you like the basics of this. I'm like, learn this and master this, and then we'll go over some more advanced stuff. I'm like, but see if you can make money doing just this, like, because he wasn't throwing around chump change. I'm like, and he's like asking me about leverage and stuff. I'm like, nah, dude, I want you to be careful, blah blah blah. So we go through a few hours, and he's like, and I'm like, I gotta get going soon because I got something to do. But he's like, well, I'll pay you for your time. He's like, I really appreciate this. Like, I'm gonna pay you for your time. And I'm like, nah, no way, dude, no, don't worry about it. Like it's all set. I'm like, I'm just trying to figure out. He kept trying to insist on like paying me, like as like he's like, I know that your time is valuable, and like you're doing a lot, spending time with me, and like giving me like a lot of good info. And I'm like, yeah, I know, dude. I'm like, just apply it, like make some good trades first. I'm like, just focus on that. I'm
I
like,
mean, that's how
yeah,
conditioned people are to like how this world is, and like I mean, and like also like there that's someone recognizing the value that you gave them. Like I I was looking at the Cypher B earlier. Like I haven't touched I tried to use it at the beginning, and I was like, no idea what I was looking at. And people would tell me, oh yeah, you can do this, this, and this with it. And I was looking at it earlier, and I it's like, oh. this is this, and this is money flow, and this is. I was like, oh, like, and that's like, you know, for the. I mean, I've looked at videos on it, you know, but like trying to decipher that when 9 out of 10 videos on an indicator are like, this indicator will make you a bunch of money, and they show you like a clip of it succeeding and like a clip of it maybe failing, and like, you know, it's like it's not easy to find this information, and part of it is that the capitalization of knowledge, right, becomes gatekeeping. So, and you know, it's not everybody's like coming from that mindset, but it's definitely like, you know, I was like lost, dude. That's why I didn't trade forever, because I was like, you know, like I've tried to get into this a little bit and I don't even know where to start, and all these channels are just like selling, you know, shilling coins that like I've never heard. Seems like it didn't turn out too good when I looked at it, you know.
The way I've always
Yeah.
looked at it is, you know, if people find value and they're successful and they can afford it, then they'll pay it forward. And if they can't afford it, then I don't want it. You know what I mean? But what I don't want to do is gatekeep any knowledge from somebody because they don't have the money to pay for it. Like, that just feels nasty to me.
Yeah,
And
you're
will
really
there
good
be
stuff, man.
some people that just take the value and run and never give back? Sure, yeah, of course. But that's on them. You know what I mean? That's not.
Yeah, thanks for not having to have us be accredited first, Dbloc. Appreciate it.
Yeah, accredited Discord
Right.
members. Yeah, I'm gonna
The
need to
world,
see bank statements and
the world's always gonna feed the greedy, right? But like, not many people are teaching like the hungry how to fend for themselves, you know. And so it's like, yeah, that's kind of
Dude,
like
Yeah.
go ahead.
sorry, dude. I mean, since everybody's saying it, even I would, want to say this. I've been around for like 3-4 years in crypto, but what I've learned in the last 3 months around you, I mean, thanks, man.
I appreciate that. That means
But
a
that's
lot.
what's crazy. Yeah,
That's one of the
that is
things to me that feels the best. Like, new people coming in, it's cool. But when somebody that's been trading for a while says, like, that was the puzzle, like that was the missing puzzle piece that I needed. Like, there was just something missing, you know? Like, that means a lot. That feels good.
Yeah, I mean, the way you simplify and I mean, everything that you do is, I don't even have words to express it.
I appreciate it,
But what's
brother.
crazy about this channel is really Dbloc, like he just said, he don't want to be a gatekeeper. There's been several people in this community in the past 6 years. I mean, I'm talking about Thru, Shania, several people, BJ, that does never like they give back. They figure out the sauce from Dbloc and then they come back in this channel and give back. So that's what's even, to me, is even better about this channel is just people keep coming back and giving the sauce back and keep teaching and it's pretty awesome for real.
So you've definitely magnetized a really good community. Yeah, and it shows, you know, like uh, it's this is far beyond what I could have imagined this would be like. So thanks to all of you.
Yeah, it'll be hard to keep it like this when it gets bigger, but we'll try hard.
Yeah, because what happens in the bull market, we already know. Block people come in from all kinds and they know it all. You know
I'm
what I
always
mean?
gonna err on the side of people who are already here, guys. That's the one thing I can promise you is, like, if you've been here for a while, I'm always gonna err on the side of whoever comes in here mixing good with you, right? Because you're here already, you're family. So not
For
everybody's
sure.
gonna blend well. You know, some people are gonna come in here and they're just not gonna play well with others, and you know, they might be funny as hell. We might like them, but if things get slippery, right? If you let
Try
certain
my
things
best.
slide, it gets worse.
I try my best, Block. Leave me alone.
My
Like,
bad.
you've been here a long time. Come on. But we know in the bull market, just people come in from all kinds of places and they know it all. You know what I mean? And the people who are here, they've been here for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, he keeps, if Dbloc is as he is, he keeps it real. It's only gonna bring in more real people, and then like the community just gonna thrive itself on that. You know what I mean? It's just like attracts like. So eventually, yeah, there's gonna be those, other type of, people, but it's gonna get vetted out eventually. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah, this group doesn't really tolerate too much of that shit. Like y'all fight with each other every once in a while, but I don't think anybody in here is gonna tolerate somebody brand new coming in and just talking reckless. Like
No,
that
good
problem will
vibes,
take care of
good
itself.
vibes.
Yeah, that problem will take care of itself pretty quickly.
And it has for a long time.
Some you guys gonna come in and pull a static.
Yeah.
It happens. It happens, right? And then you get that thing like, well, I'm new here. Prove yourself to me. And it's like, bro, listen. On the list of things that I need to do by order of importance, proving myself to you is at the very bottom.
Yeah, that shit's at the bottom, man. If the proof was not in the pudding, why are you even there to begin with? I mean, at least like when Static showed up, he was like, he heard he heard some like good people talk, and then he heard like a bunch of people that didn't know what the hell they were talking about, and he was like, oh, all right, hold on a second, I gotta go in there, I gotta explain some shit. And like when he did, it was wicked abrasive, and just like people took it in such a harsh way at first, and then like a week later, or like a few weeks later, everyone wanted to hear what he had to say.
It's character types,
Like,
bro. It's not to sound all crazy, but not to sound like your girl right now, but it's not what you say, it's how you say it, So if the goal is to give your TA, have people understand it and digest it, take it in, then it has to be presented a certain way. If your goal is to come in and say my shit's better than your shit, and it's an ego, then that's presented a certain way. And so in a room full of people that have that personality type, that works, right? In a certain community, there's no problem with that. You bring that into the community like this, and you're gonna get friction.
The other thing that he did mention was he was like,
And I'm not talking about Static anymore. I'm just talking
No,
about
I
different
know.
personalities. Yeah.
I'm just giving an example of like another example is like the other thing that he said was like that he was like, I came in, he's like, what do you guys think? Because like I came in to sort of, he's like, I didn't just come in here to give TA. He's like, I came in here to talk to other traders. Like I want to know what other traders think and like what their ideas are, what they're looking at. Like I remember him specifically saying that one time because like there was just a bunch of people at one point, it was just a bunch of people came in and looking for him and asking him questions and trying to figure out what he thought, and like he had all the advice or whatever. But and then there was that Napa IO guy. Oh, that guy was great.
Little
The
IO.
Wyckoff.
Yeah.
Let
with
me
the
tell you about the Wyckoff.
Hey, I've seen
sophisticated.
Wyckoff do that to a couple different people already. It happens, bro.
Yeah.
When you
That's a rabbit
first get into Wyckoff and it starts to click and you're like, wait, and you start to see like the Matrix. It's like that Neo moment. I've seen a lot of people get lost in the rabbit hole, bro.
Man, Wyckoff is the shit though. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean,
Fibs too. I've seen
back
Fibs
then
do
we
the
were all
same
just-
thing. I've seen people go down to Fibs and then it just, because it is cool. It's like, the balance, the symmetry of it is amazing. So I've seen people go crazy. Fibs, fib extensions, fib circles, fib squares.
Yeah, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy type thing. With just basic fib levels, it's like, okay, if it's a known thing that when something retraces, it has a tendency to go to the 0.5, then I'm gonna put my and then bounce from there. then I'm gonna think, okay, I should put my order there. So then a bunch of people put their orders there. So when it actually does go to the 0.5, it goes to that price, it bounces. So it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, but it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? And it's like, why did it start bouncing at the 0.5? Like, did it start bouncing at the 0.5 like before people put their orders there, or did people put their orders there and that's why it bounces at the 0.5, and they put their orders there because they know that it's supposed to bounce there? Like, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
It's so
What
weird.
if Wyckoff is an industry plan from the market makers to make us think that way, so then the market makers could take the money even easier?
Nah,
Well,
Wyckoff,
even
Wyckoff, I consider one of the forefathers of what I do because he found the fingerprint, right? So what Wyckoff said was, this doesn't feel natural. There's a pattern here. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna find it, right? And eventually he found it. Where he missed out was, back in the day when you got to a part that was unexplainable, they would just blame it on the invisible hand of the market, the composite man. You still hear people talk about that shit now. It drives me crazy.
Yep.
But it's liquidity providers. It's the market maker, right? That's the invisible hand of the market. He's not so invisible, but I guess now with the technology that we have, it's easy to say that. When you were charting on paper, he was a ghost, you know? But
yeah, like
so now, it's like stage 2. Like, okay, now we understand the market maker pattern. We understand his accumulation levels. We understand his distribution levels. We understand his 3 rises and 3 retraces. We understand when to see the fingerprint of when the market maker's active, and we know what his motivations are, right? It's like the full circular sort of like tying it up in a big red bow of what Wyckoff started.
we got his whole profile down now. We got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I mean, another thing with the fib levels, that's like old as a tale as old as time too, because it's like WD Gann started talking about like the 0.5 or 50% retracer or whatever in the markets, and like that was a long ass time ago. So it was like as old as that. Like, was it happening before he observed it, or he observed it and then it started happening more? Then like we're talking about people from like hundreds of years ago, like, or I mean at least 100 years ago. These people that were writing these books, like before there was even TV. It's just crazy to think about.
it must have been real crazy trading like with the fog of war without being like tapped in like we are now.
My problem, okay, so like I don't want to be disrespectful to any other trading style, so I'm gonna tread very lightly here without having this sound like egotistical. But with the understanding that I have on how the market moves and why it moves, these styles that we develop to explain the unexplainable have lost value to me. Right? Like Elliott Wave, oh goodness, I'm gonna get so much shit for this. Gann, Gartley's to an extent, right? The patterns still hold value, right? But the predictive nature of them have lost extreme value in my toolbox. I love to use them to go back and look at shit. And I love when stuff does sort of line up and play out into the future. Like that sort of symmetry is always beautiful. But as far as where I put my money, when I enter, when I exit, what I target, what I'm willing to risk, it's all liquidity, guys. My personal opinion.
Well, the game has evolved. The game has evolved to the point where it's like we can actually scout that type of stuff out. And like people are using computers and algorithms and stuff to trade now when that really wasn't always the case. Like back in the day, like, but I mean, before we could even really like invest, let's be honest, like before we had exchange and before we had